Welcome, all our Black Hat 2021 guests. We hope you're finding this year's content to be a source of practical information and inspiration that you can begin using immediately. If this talk is interesting to you, please stop by the Stamus Network's booth, virtual booth, to pick up some additional information and chat with one of our engineers. Look, the network holds the ground truth for your enterprise security posture. In fact, nearly all cyber threats generate observable network communications. Unfortunately, traditional network security systems can generate millions of indicators of compromise every day, with no easy way to quickly assess the risk to your critical assets, let alone identify and investigate a real threat. In this 15-minute session, we will demonstrate using real-world traffic how a modern network detection and response system can help you rapidly identify serious and imminent threats and move you quickly from suspicion to resolution in a matter of minutes. Our speakers today are the two co-founders of Stamus Networks, Eric LeBlanc and Peter Manev. Without further ado, please take it away, Eric.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our talk about 10 minutes to find the patient zero, where we will show you how you can use an NDR solution to spot the patient zero and improve your defense. I'm Eric LeBlanc. I'm from Stamus Networks, a global company based in the US and in Europe. And we are the editor of NDR and IDS solution that we will show you during this presentation. The main point with network security is that it did improve lately, but one of the consequences of this improvement is that it is producing a lot of events. So if you take the things that you should have in your network, you should have network intrusion detection or network security monitoring. But if you have these two sources of data, it means that for a decent network, you will have 2 million IDS alert, IOCs, and 7 to 8 billion of protocol transactions. So that's a lot. And it's good data. It will help you to do incident response, to do investigation. But as it is a lot, it will be really complicated to find the needle in the haystack. So at Stamus Network, we did work on introducing some correlation and auto-event triage that allow you to get down to a lower number of events that you can really easier to investigate. And by adding on top of that machine learning and the stateful logic, we really manage to get down to declaration of compromise that allow you to have just exactly what you want when you want to know if your network has been breached. What are the assets in my network that are under attack, and what kind of threats can I find in my network? So first thing, why do you want to find the patient zero? Because you need to know your enemy. If you don't know which door was open and where the attacker did manage to enter, you will not be able to close the door. And so that's the first point, that's the easy one. And the second point is that you're also knowing exactly the chain of event. You will be able to recognize the technique, procedure of the attacker, so you will know which adversary you are in front of. And by understanding the full chain of event, you can share details with your management and get explanation of what did happen. And by doing this, you will be able to bring your company to the next stage, be able to improve your defense and to counter the next attack. I'll let the show to Peter Manev that will present you the threat hunting interface in Stamus Networks.
Thank you, Eric. My name is Peter Manev. I'm a co-founder and colleague of Eric at Stamus Networks. So, folks, what we have here is the serious enriched hunting dashboard. This is basically a very easy, consolidated way of displaying alerts and security monitoring events related to those alerts as a form of evidence. So what we have here, and I think this will kind of relate to most of you people that are in the SOC or incident response teams, the data, at least what we have here is a display of these events, broken down, consolidated in a manner and easy way where you can actually search, quickly, easily zoom in and out of specific views. And as we scroll down, you can see that we have a lot of information all broken down, ready to use. One of the things that we're dealing it on a regular basis is the sheer number of volume of events, and you can have an example here. And even though this is just let's say one example, it's still a big volume by itself, and you need to also understand what and when it happened and who was actually affected first and how it spread. And as I scroll around through the screen, you can see we have a lot of data. We automatically have malware families present in here, and you can see PowerShell, Empire, Trick, Bot, Internal Blue, most likely used from lateral movement, attack targets here as endpoints and SMB clients, traditional alert data, but even more so metadata actually as HTTP, DNS, TLS information available to us. Now, usually when you present it with a screen like that you need to dig in, you have to, of course, know certain or hold certain expertise with the organization that you're protecting or the data points that you're protecting. And even if you're presented with and have actually set up certain filter sets of view ready to zoom in on events and go from thousands and millions to specific ones, you can switch on to the alert tab, have an actual log view of that event with all the data and metadata that belongs to it, including the related events. As an evidence, it's still very good data and solid to be able and giving you a possibility so that you're able to make a decision. But you still actually would need to dig in, find out what happened in between all the noise, who was first affected, and what or where that initial breach happened first, and the extent of the damage and who was involved, so you can actually trigger follow-up or an incident response with the appropriate teams. So I need to understand, personally, I would like when I look at the screen, what needs my attention now, what happened first, how it happened first, who was affected, and where it evolved straight on. The Serious Enriched Hunting dashboard gives you a possibility, a very good possibility to actually zoom in and dig in, including active threat hunting. But you still will have to actually go in and find it out by yourself with the amount of knowledge that you have, the organization that you're protecting as well. Not to forget that.
I just demoed by Peter, indicator of compromise that we did explore in the threat hunting interface are really valuable. You really are able to jump into the details, find tricky part, find a kind of anomaly, and then do investigation based on this. But it requires work, and you really need a lot of work to be able to get from this mass of data to the point about what are the threats on my network, which assets in my network are the target of advanced or regular attacks. So now let's see what we can do in Stabus NDR with declaration of compromise, that are an enhanced version of indicator of compromise, and that really is the work of incident response and threat detection.
Hello, folks. As previously seen, what I would need to do, and what I'm sure would relate to a lot of SOC analysts would need to do, is actually get a clear view of what needs my attention now. And Stamos NDR is one way to actually explicitly show you that. What I want to know is somebody impacted? What is the impact? And where are actually they sitting in the kill chain stages? I can see clearly here that I have two assets in actions and objectives. We've gone through millions of events. We have malware present in here. And that's all great information that needs my attention now. What I really want to know more now is get a bit more detail into those assets and figure out the connection, actually, or what happened first, second, and so on. I can easily jump to my asset tab here, and we can quickly see that we have users from accounting coming in, and Mario Zaragoza was actually infected, and with the threads actually affecting these specific assets, and the user Mario logged in. We do also have a secondary asset in here that seems to be coming from the servers, and judging by the host name, it looks like a domain controller. What I really like to know now, having in mind the details presented to me here, is actually the stages that it went through and how it actually evolved. I'm going to go here and come in and click on the kill chain timeline. I'm going to take the first asset, and this will give me what I really want to look at, actually, what happened first. And we have a maldoc in the delivery kill chain stage, which is actually a very traditional, usual way of malware actors getting in. Then we see another malware actually acting up and switching the assets to command and control, Eurosniff. And then we see TrickBot involved, and actually it's a TrickBot that switches the asset into actions and objectives. And furthermore, there is another actor present, IST-ID. So that gives me a nice timeline view of what happened first and next on this asset. What is interesting to me is what happened next. I can see Eternal Blue, which was most likely lateral movement that targeted 10755. This is very important information because actually that presents the connection between being exploited and going in lateral for me. So I can actually, what I can do is just quickly, basically just a click on the secondary asset that was affected. And that will switch on to a view of this secondary asset and show me immediately that, okay, this asset was exploited by Eternal Blue. It was seen as a first step in. Then we actually, surely enough, can deduct that TrickBot actually switched the assets from command and control into objectives, and PowerShell Empire followed through. This is all coming in by the originally exploited asset with maldoc, and that asset actually went in and exploited via Eternal Blue the domain controller here. This is what I need to know right away with a few clicks. Out of those millions of events, what needs my attention now, how it happened, when it happened, and what are the areas that and what teams need to be involved immediately into actually quarantining and patching up that. Much needed help in the billions of events that we're looking through the screens daily.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Peter, for this demo of Stamus NDR. I hope everybody did really grasp the concept there of declaration of compromise that allow you to rapidly identify serious and imminent threats. In a matter of minutes, we went to the patient zero. We have seen all the chain of compromise involving multiple malware, different infrastructure, that comes from a maldoc and that went to the domain controller in the company. So I hope it did convince you about the usefulness of this approach and of this solution. And I encourage you to visit our website, stamusnetworks.com. Thanks a lot.